I believe that we should respect with trust, and having that in the classroom is very important. I also want to develop them into critical thinkers and let them have a voice in the classroom. That's why in my philosophy I identify myself as a low control teacher, and I related myself to Barbara Coloroso, which tells us that we should have respect and responsibility and trust in the classroom. And as a teacher, we should love our students, and students should discipline themselves and learn from their own mistake. And that's why I wrote down the statement: students and teachers should love, validate, and trust each other. Coloroso's idea is to treat students with dignity and respect. And as a teacher, we are in the role of providing support and structure. And just like Kohn said, we want to allow students to make choices. So that's why in my classroom, I have different choices that students can pick from. For example, deciding the order of the classroom, or choose where they want to receive the instruction, or choose between multiple lesson plans for the same objectives. Also, classroom job is really important, so that's why I have different jobs for the students, like writing assignments on the board or feeding the class pet. I believe that assigning class jobs will let the students feel more like they're part of the classroom and they're really in it with me and with their classmates. I don't want them to just feel like, oh, they're going to school and to this like jail kind of thing, but I want them to be happy and feel like, hey, I'm actually part of my own learning. Okay, and then it comes to my motivation page. I actually believe that I want to use all 4 of the motivations in my classroom, just because I feel like in order to have to develop students to that and to have that intrinsic motivations, using introgetic and external motivations will help me get there. So some of the things I can use is to create a student-centered classroom so they're involved in their own learning. Also, I'll encourage students' actions by focusing on their efforts instead of their innate ability. So focusing on their efforts, making things happen instead of just praising for their final result. Also, I'll provide clear learning goals at the beginning of class so students know what they're learning and they know what the objectives are. And in my next page, it talks about roles and procedures. 2 roles I think that are very important is to be kind to one another and be respectful. Also, to work hard and try your best. I believe that students are responsible for their own learning, and we as teachers are the facilitators to help them with their own learning. But being a low control teacher doesn't just mean I am letting students take over my classrooms. I still want to share control with the students, like Jim Fay said. So while I have some rules in mind that I want to have in the classroom, I'll still involve the students in creating our classroom rules by asking some questions like, how do you want me to treat you? How do you think I want to be treated? This will take place on the first day of the class. I believe that by asking students these questions, they'll eventually come up with the same rules that I have in mind anyway. So I can use this technique to have them come up with the rules that I want. Some of the positive consequences I'll have in the classroom is to give free homework pass or add a ticket with the student's name on it for drawing, or have them tell a joke to the class. I know elementary school students would like something like that. And some of the negative consequences are giving them time out or lose recess times or writing an apology letter. So for my prevention page, I'll establish a good relationship with my students by calling them by name. I think this is very important. I have been in a classroom where the teacher doesn't know my name, and I just felt like I don't even want to try since the teacher doesn't even know my name, so why should I try on my end? I also create and use personal relevant class examples so that students feel closer to me and feel that I actually love them and care about them. Which means that it'll require me to really understand my students, know their background, know their interests, what they like, what they don't like. So in procedure, I have to turn in homework, and I expect them to walk quietly and turn in their homework to the homework box and walk back. I'll model that and have them try it and repeat it until they have done it correctly. I think modeling is an essential part of teaching. If we model and have the students repeat after us, it's very easy compared to just telling them, hey, this is what I expect you to do and you should do it. Modeling is definitely the key. Okay, and then next it comes to my intervention page where I order them from 1 to 9, and 9 being the most extreme misbehavior. For example, if student is distracted with an object, I can use situational assistance. So that is, for example, like taking away the object so that they're not distracted, or if student is not compliant in anything the teacher says to do, I can use chronic behaviors technique and like call the parents or have a one-on-one meeting with students to address the concern. Also, bullying happens in the classroom, so I'll address bullying by explaining what it is and why it is not okay. I want my students to know the meaning behind bullying and why it is not okay, instead of just telling them they can't do it. I believe that students need to understand in order for them to behave the way that we expect them to. Another way is to take them to participate in community activity so that they feel that sense of belongingness, and know how others want to be treated or how they should treat each other. Next, I have my classroom map. So we walk in the door, and I have a bulletin board next to the door so that student can see the agenda for today and the homework that need to be turned in. So, and they'll turn in their homework here at the homework box and put down their backpack and lunches here so that there is no distraction at the table with their jackets or coats or backpack hanging. They're in the center of the classroom so they can see this whiteboard and this whiteboard. Here I have a reading corner for themselves to read, and here is my teacher desk with 2 one-on-one desks. I'll assign students to go there if they have missed their homework or I'm putting them in timeout. So this would be a place where only students that I assign to go there can go, and none of them can go. None of the other students can go there. Oh, so I have the pencil sharpener at the front of the classroom to prevent danger and that everyone can see what's happening with the pencil sharpener. Also, I have the reading rack over here, so that's where we'll do our classroom reading. And by there's a sink and water fountain. I don't want it to be near the high traffic is because I don't want them to bump into each other while someone running in the classroom but someone's running to get water, or forming a line at the entrance, which can cause some safety issue. And that's why my classroom looks so not empty, but just you can see the flow. Like there's lots of routines or directions that students can go out the door with so that they're not all just in one crowded place. And that is my folder. So I just want to emphasize on having a low teacher control. It doesn't mean that we are letting students take over our classroom, but it means to give more trust to the students and let them take ownership. It also means that we are maximizing our communication, like Thomas Gordon say, or like Barbara Coloroso said, we are letting the students to solve their own problem and we are just providing the support and structure.